Hi, it's Fionna Gossling from Royal LePage with an update as to what happened in Oakville real estate in November 2024. So, if I could make this work. 2024 closed out, or almost closed out the year. It's hard when it's in December. Almost closed out the year with our average annual sale price being the highest it's ever been on record. So, while we are still not back to those peak prices of 2022, because 2022 slowed down so significantly in the latter part of the year, and then steadily began to creep back up, as a whole, on average, we are higher than we were in 2022. So everything you hear in the media is not necessarily true. And if you wanted to have that as a picture, you can see here that we kind of peaked up here in February 2022, and then we had a quite swift decline and have kind of slowly been holding steady or increasing in our average and our median sale price for the rest of the year. The rest of the years. So you can see November actually wasn't that bad. We had 214 sales. Now, generally speaking, that is not a lot of sales activity. But when you look at kind of the sales activity we've experienced the rest of the year and in 2023, it's kind of the same. I would say 2024 has been a very boring year in real estate. It's been a little bit of a chore to get buyers into the market and see the value, but I do think that they are starting to jump back into the market. Interest rate announcements that have happened, I've seen a little bit of uptick in activity, and we do have the other next rate announcement coming on Wednesday. So hopefully that will encourage more buyers who are waiting on the sidelines to jump in. Incidentally, most economists are predicting a fairly strong real estate market, or a return of real estate transaction sales increasing in 2025. So if you were a buyer waiting on the sidelines, now is probably the time to do it. And with the new mortgage rules coming into effect in mid-December, I think that will also have an impact on buyers' ability to get into the market between that $1 million and $1.5 million mark. So while it might not be happening this very second, I do anticipate that that will be happening in the future. So if you're thinking about getting into the market, I think this is probably a pretty good time to do it. So this year over last year, this November over last November, 56% more sales, mostly because we just had so few sales in November 2023. Although we had more active listings because we had more sales, our months of inventory decreased by 13%, but still 4.1 months of inventory. So that's a balanced market. And our average sale price remained pretty flat. And our days on market were slightly up to 31 days on market. So that's fairly insignificant. Boring. When you break down the various categories of houses, or where the opportunities really lie in today's market, you can see we have 3.7 months of inventory on detached homes, and the average sale price is up over last month to $2,133,000. 3.1 months of inventory of townhouses, and 7.2 months of condos. So condos are taking longer to sell. All condos, all across the GTA, and I'm pretty sure Canada, with the exception of a few cities, do seem to be having a hard time with condos, or a lot of condo activity. And the average sale price of a townhouse was $1,020,000. The average sale price of a condo was $750,000, which is down a little bit from the month before, but up, kind of actually flat from the previous few months. So can I make my face smaller? So if you look here, sales were down over October, pretty comparable from the last 4 months. Active listings, kind of same story, fewer listings, but that is very typical at Christmas time. People tend to start taking their homes off the market if they're not getting the activity that they want. If they're hoping for a better spring market, people tend to take their homes off. And then you can see that that's a direct reflection, months of inventory and number of sales. And our average sale price is up from October and down slightly from September, but I'm like a broken record. A few big sales will really throw that off. Fundamentally, it's pretty flat. Same story with condos. Boring, boring, boring. Flat, flat, flat. Um, Average sale price is down a little bit over October, but I think there were something like 11, don't quote me, condo sales. So we're not talking about a huge number of transactions that are happening. Also, that was a really dumb thing to say. There were 35. I was looking at high end before. So there are 35 condo sales last month to get to that 749,000 average sale price. And then when you look at townhouses, you can see it's pretty flat all the way along. Fewer months of inventory, which is a good thing. All of this is to say November real estate was pretty flat. Any specific questions, don't hesitate to reach out. That rate announcement happens on Wednesday. So if you were thinking about buying or selling, that's something to look out for. And if you have questions about these new mortgage rules that are being announced or that are coming into effect December, please don't hesitate to reach out and we can go through those together and talk about what that means for you if you're thinking about buying or selling. Okay, I will catch up with you next month.